is the third session out of the four that we are going to have for the basic writing skills workshop. We covered two sections already, within which we talked about paragraph development as well as the various components of paragraphs, right, including the two major features that you require for the construction of the paragraph, which was unity and cohesion. Right? That is where we stopped last time, and we've had a few activities and exercises carried out to demonstrate the theory that we discussed for both the topics, right? Today, we are going to continue discussing about the basic thing. And for today's class, we're going to be talking about one particular form of writing, and that is descriptive writing. Okay, so everything else that we discuss, it remains intact. All the rules remain intact, but we are going to look at a little detailed version of what we mean by descriptive writing. Okay, so the first part would include the mini lesson. We'll talk about what we mean by descriptive writing and what are the elements that go into descriptive writing. And remember, we're talking about descriptive paragraph writing, right? So this is the basics. Like in the very first class, I had discussed that when you talk about writing, the basic part would all be paragraph, right? It's not about sentence construction. That is done. That is a much more of an infantile stage than writing itself. But when you talk about basic writing skills, what people mean is that could you at least write, a paragraph? Basically, when you the point is that are you able to put together ideas in a cogent, unified and coherent way, right? Since this is on basic writing skills, we're not going to take up, other complicated stuff. A better one to begin your workshops for writing skills would be something like descriptive writing. Since we've already finished talking about the techniques and strategies, we come to descriptive writing today. Okay, and now within this, we'll be discussing structure, language, as well as strategies to write an effective descriptive paragraph. Right? That would form your mini lesson for today, and the work time will include writing, the structure. We did a structured writing in the last class. I do not know how many of you were there for the last class, but those of you who are not here, you will have to write your paragraphs again today. But if you had by chance, if you had been in the last class, then you will already have that work saved with you, or else you just write it again today. That's all. Okay. So that's for the mini lesson. Then we're going to talk about what all goes into the structured writing part. Okay, as in the descriptive writing. We'll begin talking about it. Are you all able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So this is the most common form of writing a paragraph, is because once you know how to do the descriptive writing, actually most of the paragraphs would take up that, right? It is about some sort of description about something. The pattern that you might use to arrange your information could be different, right? Like, you could use a compare contrast method, or you use, say, a process paragraph method, or a definition paragraph method. The types could be different, but essentially what you do in all of this writing is a descriptive writing, right? You describe about something or somebody or some place, right? Or some equipment. That is how most of the description works, right? Or you talk about your feelings, even if it is something like an opinion paragraph, you describe it. The basic part, or the basic thing that you do here is description, right? Hence, knowing how to do this would be a very good start for somebody who's trying to improve on their writing. So three things, right? Especially when it comes to writing, the most important three things that you would keep in mind are the content. Okay, that is what goes into the making of your paragraph. Second is the language you use, and the third is the style that you adopt. Okay, in content, in descriptive writing, right? You talk about an object, person, or place, right? Or a subcategory of any of this. It's mostly like anything that you're going to write about will belong to one of these, right? Could be either an object, person, or place, right? As it appeals to our senses, right? So that means there's going to be description about uh, all senses that you have, right? Like what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch and feel, right? These things are essentially what you're going to write about. Mm. And because it is a descriptive form of writing, the idea is also that you present something which is picture-like. Picture means that picture-like, right? So you represent something that is picture-like. You give a picturesque experience to the reader. You can either call it picturesque writing or you can also call it the experiential writing, right? Wherein the reader is with the writer, right? It doesn't feel like someone else is writing, but it's something that you have sensed, which you have observed with your own senses, which is why the first sentence, right? As it appeals to our senses. Then comes your language, right? Now, this part is very important in any form of writing. It's not just, we're not just talking about grammatically structured sentences, right? Like we discussed, it is important that in a paragraph there should be unity and there should also be cohesion, right? Unity is referring to the theme that is being discussed in the entire paragraph, right? And coherence is the logical continuity that you must have between the ideas or between the sentences. This is to maintain the flow of writing. That it shouldn't feel like you have clubbed together separate individual sentences and formed a paragraph out of it. Every sentence should be linked to each other in one way, and that linking needs to be quite logical in nature. This is what coherence ensures. Both of this, the part of unity and coherence, and plus the content part that you just heard about, all of this is facilitated by language. Hence, what becomes important within the language? The word choice, right? Word choice is very, very important. And when we talk about word choice, we mean that you avoid vague references, right? You cut out irrelevant phrases and things that do not add to the meaning or the purpose of what you're writing, right? Especially modifiers. What are modifiers? There are phrase-like or clause-like elements within the sentences, right? Modifiers, the work is to add information to noun or pronoun, right? So mostly they are adjectives, that means, right? Adjectival phrases or clauses. They should also be used very carefully, right? When you use your modifier, they should not just be structurally correct, but they should also be relevant to the description that you're writing. But one point that one needs to keep in mind is that in descriptive writing, there is an abundant usage of adjectives and adverbs, right? Anything that is used to modify, anything that is used to give information about what you're writing is presented using the grammatical segment of adjectives or adverbs. I am not sure how many of you attend the sessions for Learn the Rope when we were discussing collocations. I told you collocations in languages, they are very, very important with respect to building vocabulary skills, right? And what kind of collocations? We looked at lexical collocations, grammatical collocations, and one more category called the delexicalized verbs. So within this, grammatical collocations are something that you will have to read and understand and see, what kind of grammatical segments go together. One is also to know the grammatical rules beyond the sentences, right? Beyond the grammatical rules, there are certain grammatical combinations between words which you cannot explain with the help of the grammatical rules that you know, right? They just happen to be together in a given language. Similarly, there are also lexical combinations, that is combinations between two nouns, or say a noun and an adjective, or an adjective and an adverb. All of these are actually codes that help you in good writing. When we were discussing about collocations, I had told you that watch out for this adverb adjective combinations in writing when you're reading other people's work, or you're listening to works by others, right? Podcasts or anything. Keep an eye, keep an ear for these combinations, right? The lexical combinations of adverb adjective, right? They have enormous power in helping you with this part, the language part, which is the word choice. In writing, your choice of language will have to be very specific, and we know that it is a good vocabulary that helps you, apply this specificity to your writing. If you do not know the right word to be used in the situation or for that particular object that you're describing, then obviously your writing becomes vague, it becomes a little ineffective. So vocabulary building, very important. And what do you do for vocabulary building? You will have to read carefully, you will have to listen carefully. And when you listen, you will have to listen for communications between adverbs and adjectives, and general other collocations and grammatical conditioning, of course, right? That's what we mean by word choice, right? So good specific adjectives, right, that would help you enhance on the writing, as well as keeping away from vague references, irrelevant phrases, cluttered phrases. These all become a part of the language in descriptive writing. Style, as suitable for the target audience, simply means, if you're somebody who wants to write children's literature, right, then the kind of language that you would use would be very different from what you would write as a biologist, or what you would write as a tech blogger, right? So again, style refers to both vocabulary, that is both a register, as well as the tone that you use, right? For example, say satirical tone may not be very good when you're writing children's literature, because children are not very good at grasping on sarcasm, or they do not understand satire much. They don't understand irony much, right? These are all advanced levels. These are only for people who are a little grown up. So those kind of tones can be set aside for people who are a little older, right? Who understand their surroundings better. Or the other way around, you cannot use very serious looking words for writing children's literature, right? The children do not understand that. Or you cannot use too many cooked up words that you see in children's literature for an adult, right? I am talking about all of these things in general terms. It's not like you cannot use at all. There are people who would experiment with these techniques and write too. But in the general sense of things, you do not really do all of these, right? There is some sort of specificity. There's a specific domain of vocabulary and words that go into the construction of one genre, one kind of writing, right? A lot of things, a lot of words and phrases that you see in a drama may not be something that you witness in a novel or in a poem, right? Or poem is a good example. A lot of things that you read in poem is not something that is suitable for prose or for novel, right? It does not make any sense for us to do that. So depending on who your target audience is, or depending on what genre you select to write, your style changes, your language changes, your content definitely changes. Okay. So that's a quick introduction of descriptive writing is. Then we're going to look at the organization in descriptive writing, right? So first thing is, of course, ideas, right? You jot down what you want to write about, right? You brainstorm about it. About what? Because in descriptive writing, we mostly focus, the basic descriptive writing focuses mostly on describing people, place, things. We're going to look at ideas, and brainstorming is done mostly based on what can you write about these, right? What do you understand about people, place, things? We look at in detail about, how do you ideate? In fact, how do you write down ideas? What are the things that you should be thinking about or writing about when you describe people, place, things? But to begin with, the basic three things that you have are the ideas. Once you have the ideas, you should have the outline of your paragraph, right? A quick design on how you want to structure it. And then after you have written, right, once you have an outline and you have actually written down the paragraph, you go back again to vocabulary. right? This vocabulary is something that you will visit twice. Once when you're writing your first draft, and once when you're going to look at the revision of the same draft, right? Writing is a lengthy exercise, and it is not a one-time exercise, right? It always involves this aspect called revision. Okay, nobody submits, no seasoned writer submits their first draft to anybody, whether that's for publications or whether that's for any other kind of purposes. Okay, one golden rule of writing is that nobody submits their first draft. Everybody will have to at least go through 5 or 6 of what they have written in order to have an effective piece, right? And this is not true just for these forms of writing. Even say if you're writing an email or even if you're writing a message to somebody, uh, this is a good practice, right? You revise on what you want to write, unless it is a casual conversation that's happening between people. Anything that is a serious form of writing certainly requires several drafts before it's considered fit enough for forwarding to people for publishing or any other things, right? For any forum. Yes. Now, the next thing, what is it that we're going to now look at things one by one? So you have ideation and brainstorming, of course. Then comes your outline, right? So within this outline, what are the things that you would keep in mind? Outline includes what? The things that we already discussed in first class, which is the components of the development of the paragraph, right? So your outline, whenever you're writing about whether a people, place, whether people, place, or things, your outline should definitely include all the components that are required for constructing a paragraph. So the first one is, of course, topic sentence, within which you will introduce the object and place and person, whatever you're writing about. Then also writer's feeling or opinion. This is to express the main idea, right? Introducing the object, place, person includes what we refer to as topic, right? Topic introduction. And this writer's feeling and opinion is mostly for what? To tell the reader about the main idea, right? So this topic and main idea together, both of them will together form what? Topic and the main idea. This will give you what we refer to as the topic sentence, right? So topic sentence is a combination of your topic, right, and your main idea. Now, writer's feeling or opinion, you set the perspective. For example, I am writing about uh, um, water pollution, and then I say my topic sentence, if it looks like this, right? We will study the effects of water pollution on you know quality of life in cities. If this is what my sentence looks like, then what is the topic here? What am I talking about? Water pollution. What is the main idea? Effects of water pollution on life of people in cities, right? Quality of life people in cities. So the main idea is to talk about the effect, right? So that becomes your main idea, and the topic is water pollution. Together, both of these things come together to give you the topic sentence, right? So that is the first part, introduction of the topic, then writer's feeling or opinion, that is perspective. What direction is it going to take gives you the main idea. That means, the topic sentence tells you what are you going to read about in the rest of the paragraph. Then comes the supporting sentences. So you give background information. Supporting sentences, we looked at the skeleton of this in the first class, what are supporting sentences and what can be good supporting sentences. In descriptive writing particularly, what do you do? For the supporting sentences in descriptive writing, descriptive paragraphs include background information of the place or person or object, right? Descriptive details. Now, what includes descriptive details? We'll look at it in some time, and more details. So background information, descriptive details, more details. This is what these are the segments which will form the supporting sentences in descriptive paragraph. Okay, it could differ based on what type of paragraph you're writing, but in any sort of descriptive paragraph, any kind of descriptive writing, your supporting sentences will include background information, descriptive details, and more details, right? Concluding sentence, you simply restate the topic sentence. That's the task of any concluding sentence anyway. to restate, reinforce, to repeat and enforce again what is being claimed in the topic sentence, right? When you're developing ideas, you're going to use a lot of modifiers in order to use to keep your language specific. We discussed this already while we were talking about language, that you will have to use a lot of modifiers, refers to adverbs, adjectives, okay? A lot of them in order to use specific language required to describe your topic, right? So this is about the outline. Now, we'll start looking at how do you describe people, right? So when you're talking about people, what are the things that you can talk about? The first thing is, remember the first part was topic sentence, and within that introduction, right? Introducing the person to the people, place, thing. What will you write? After that, you express the perspective, and within the supporting sentences, the first thing was to give background information, right? So in background information, and the second thing about giving details, right? I'm talking about this part, the supporting sentences part, both for background information, descriptive details, and for more details, you're going to use descriptive language. And what will you write there? To talk about what does he, she, it looks like, right? What is the look? You're going to describe the look. You can talk about both whole and the parts, right? That is, you can talk about the whole of it, or you can even take a part of the whole and then describe it. So that's not a problem. Add details, it could include either a reason or a story, but within even a reason or a story, you can add details using the descriptive words. When you talk about people, look at the diagrammatic representation there. When you talk about people, mostly you're going to talk about physical appearance, right? And within physical appearance, what all can you talk about? You can talk about the build of the body. Okay, you can talk about the height. You can talk about the hair of the person, or other features like eye, face, nose, skin, hands, mouths, lips, anything. Anything that is a part of physical appearance, anything that can be seen, which is visible to the other people, as part of the body, can be used to use for the description of people, right? Can we look at a few words associated with build? Can you give me a few adjectives that you may use to talk about build, someone's build? Few, at least say 2 to 3. This is a very lengthy list. Actually, you can find them anywhere online, but it's also possible for you to talk about a few in one go. Can you try talking about this? What words can you use to describe people's build? No? Try to think about it. Build refers to, the person's physique, right? Huh? Nobody? Okay. What is it that the one that you can use easily is strong, right? Heavy.
Chubby.
Chubby. You can use that as well.
Stout.
Stout. Yes. What? Sorry, did not hear you. Hair. That is for hair, no? We'll talk about hair, but what about physique?
Fat.
Fat, yes.
Obese.
Obese, yes. Have you heard something like buff physique? I see somebody writing in the chat. Long, okay. Buff physique. right? When you say someone has buff physique, what does it mean? It means that the person is in good shape. Okay, you have a buff physique means you say you're describing somebody who's in great shape. Then you use words like buff physique, right? So yeah, you're all right. So keep in handy adjectives that would suit to talk about somebody's physique. You know how someone's overall body looks, right? Bill talks about overall body. Just look at this. It says both whole and the parts, right? So physique is about the overall look. It is about the whole. But if you talk about height and hair and eye and face and nose and all, this is parts, which is what we meant by the description can be both about whole and the parts, right? Now, okay, so you get that point. Height,
Tall,
height,
tall, short.
tall, short. Any other that you can think of? Height, heights, right? Soaring heights means huge. Okay, great altitudes. Or okay, another word is great. You can say great height. Rangy, okay, or towering. Okay, heard about this phrase called towering personalities, right? Stalwarts, right? Or beanstalk, right? This all refers to somebody's height. You can use words like this to describe a person, right? A person's height. Then elevated, right? All of these are examples of that. Um, Tiny, right? That is another word, a very commonly used word. Um, Full grown, right? Lifted, high rise, okay? Uh, yeah, many such things can be used, right? To talk about the height of people, right? For all of this, you will have actually a good list of words. I'm not using them because then there'll be a tendency to learn them as such. Whatever it is, it's okay if you have a list, but keep this in mind that don't try to by heart them and then use them. What you can do is you can write down whatever you want and then look for a suitable adjectives to fill up its place, right? Or a suitable word to go in place of it. If they're collocations, then better, because collocations, they're anyway going to appear together. So when you're learning them as expressions. So your chances of remembering them are better in case you learn them as collocations. As single words, you might have to depend on your list time, but that's okay. If you're somebody who writes frequently, then you will definitely get into the routine of visiting those lists and then thereby getting used to it. Okay. So for the beginning, right, in the beginner state, it is okay to keep such lists and then go back to it. But always keep in mind that you will have to practice regularly in order to not depend every time on this list, not like do this going back to the list and it. For that, definitely you require practice. Okay. Now, how about hair?
Silky, curly, smooth,
Silk, curly, smooth. Somebody already said blonde. Okay.
wavy, straight. And
Straight, wavy.
then we
Very
can
good.
have colors also, brown, black, and so on.
Correct, correct, correct. Okay. This looks to be an expertise area for you. Okay. A lot of people understand what hair is. Makes sense because these days there are so many things that people keep doing to the hair and it's very much in talk. So we know these things. All right. So you can use all of these terms to talk about your hair. Eye, face, nose, all of them will have similar terms. You can look for it and figure out what those words are. Some of them are very, very, they're very interesting, quite interesting. You would definitely stumble upon expressions that you might have never even, heard of. Uh, okay, now, all right. So build, height, hair, and other features would be part of physical appearance. Now, once you're done with your physical appearance, you can talk about what is the person like. Again, for this purpose, you're going to be using adjectives. But when you talk about people, you can talk good about them, you can talk bad about them, right? So You then talk about what do you like about them, and that will include what we call as positive adjectives, right? So any positive adjectives that you can think about, just to give an example.
Friendly.
Oh, sorry,
Friendly.
friendly. Okay, friendly. Positive personality adjectives. Many. There are many. Okay, friendly. Charming, cheerful, ambitious, generous, reliable, diligent, determined, resourceful, okay, gregarious, right? Big list. You will have quite a big list. Positive attitude, yeah. Even so, positive attitude. How will you describe a person with positive attitude? Can you look for words? There are many from what I have already said, right? Positive is the attitude. You'll have to look for suitable adjectives to go in its place, right?
Optimistic.
Optimistic, yes, very good. Joyous, right? Gleeful, prominent, outstanding. All of those can be used to. Any happy adjectives, any positive adjectives will certainly show forth the uh, positive attitude of the person. So you can look for that. And essentially, you're writing about what you like about, right? Now, there could also be things that you don't like about them, right? Now, that would be written using negative adjectives. Okay, we don't have to discuss. We already will know a few negative adjectives that we always use. Want to try? Give me some negative adjectives.
Arrogant.
Arrogant, dishonest, aggressive, abusive. Yes. Uh-huh.
Rude.
Rude. Yes. Correct. Callous.
Yeah,
Okay.
manipulative.
Manipulative. Correct. Cowardly. Cruel. Right. Resentful. Uh,
Biased.
Biased. Bigoted. Malicious. Morose. Right. Bad tempered. Simply bad tempered. Anything could be uh, used to show somebody's negative personality side, right? Yes. What is that? Prakash, yeah, the Hindi term would be lazy, right? Lazy is not an extremely negative adjective, but okay. Still would go into, since it's non-positive, we can count it as negative. Then, uh, when you're using negative adjectives, one thing that you have to keep in mind is that uh, you try and keep it a little indirect. If you're writing as a creative writer, then all of these things do not matter because you really need to etch out the character well for the people, right? You need to really describe it out. But if you're writing for professional purposes, even if you're writing about somebody or something that you do not like, you will have to keep away from using too many negative words about them, right? So you will have to choose your words carefully in order to neutralize it a bit, right? Only the tone should reflect that, this is a complaint or this is a grievance that you're trying to raise. Uh, However, the language itself should not look very straightforwardly negative, right? Softening skills are very important when it comes to professional writing or writing in workplaces. But otherwise, it's okay, right? So using of indirect language is something that one must keep in mind when you talk about people's negative personality, especially if you're writing in professional domains, right? In other forms of writing, it's all right. Third thing, add details. You could again use a lot of adjectives to talk about further details that you want to write about the person, right? So this works here. Now, as we are talking about adjective, there is another thing that is important here, the adjective order, right? A lot of you might know about it, but for those of you who do not understand adjective order, we can always club several adjectives together, right? When you write a sentence, when you're talking about something, we can use more than one adjective to talk about it. Okay, so for example, say to begin with a simple term, can you tell me at least two adjectives that can go with the word coat? COAT. COAT.
Black and checkered.
black and checkered. So if I have to arrange them as far as the adjective order, what would come first? Will black come first or checkered come first? Will you say black checkered coat or would you say checkered black coat?
Black checkered coat.
Black checkered coat. Huh? It's the other way around. You say checkered black coat. Okay, so that's the order of putting it. Checkered black coat. So the pattern, the color comes first, the pattern goes next, right? Similarly, if you have adjectives that show the shape, age, origin, material, type, purpose, they all come in this order. So first goes opinion. Are you able to hear me? I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just got an unstable connection message. That's why. Okay. So first goes the opinion. Then you talk about the size. Then you talk about the physical quality of the product or person or place that you're describing. Then the shape, the age, origin, material, type, purpose. Okay, all in descending order, right? As you see here. So this order needs to be strictly maintained in order to write properly. You can use more than one adjective, but definitely when you're writing with more than one adjective, this order needs to be followed. You cannot put it in any fashion you want. Okay. So that is one aspect of writing adjective. Now the third part here, uh, this is for the details part, right? Remember this one, we talked about this in the outline, right? What was it? Background information, descriptive is more details. So what can you write in more details part? You write this. How do you know the person? Okay, talk about your relationship with the person, like where did you meet or how long have you known each other. All of this becomes a part of the additional information or the further details part in the outline, right? These are all cues to how you can build a paragraph. The general cues, right? If you want to write more in this part, of course you can write it. It should just be clear in your mind that you don't stray away from the topic or the person that you're talking about. Everything in some sense should be tied together to be talking about the person or the place or the thing that you're describing, right? Okay, so this is how you look at the description of people, right? Next, we'll look at what happens when you're describing objects. Most of the things remain same. Okay, just a few difference between these things. So what is it for the things and object part? Again, very much like people, you're going to talk about what does it look like. Okay, within which you're going to talk about its appearance, which is size, shape, color mostly, or anything else that you deem fit, right? Second, you talk about the function. What is it used for, right? What is it used for? Whether it is used in your daily life or do you use it at your workplace, etc., etc. Right? So you describe the function of the object in question. Then you add details, and these details can include the material, can include the weight, can include the texture, price, cost. Okay, all of this would be part of the further details that you add. For places, again, like both the other cases for person and object, you will talk about how does the place look like, right? Now, within that, you can talk about space and settings, right? So you talk about the space that the place occupies. So you talk about the size, the shape, the environment around it, right? That becomes the first part of description of how the place looks like. Second, you talk about the time, right? That is, you talk about the year, month, or season at that place, right? Then you talk about the people and things that you can find in the surroundings in that place. Okay. Fourth part, to talk about all of this, you use what? So, because we're talking about places, right? So, even in the case of objects, this is something that is available particularly when you're talking about places and things. You can use figurative language, right? And within figurative language, particularly things like personification, metaphors, and similes. Do you understand what these things are? Personification, metaphors, similes? At least a vague idea of what these things mean. Personification is what when you, apply human-like attributes to inanimate objects, right? So like when you talk about a tree or a plant or a fruit or anything, or a bottle or a book or a pen, anything in terms of human qualities, then you call it personification, right? Metaphors and similes both are used for comparisons. Now, only difference would be that in similes, the comparison is more direct by using expressions like he was like a lion in the battle. Whereas in metaphors, you do not make a direct comparison, you make an indirect comparison, or you almost do a, you transpose one over the other, right? You make it almost congruent. So your sentence would be, he was the lion in the battle, right? This is a metaphorical statement. He was like a lion in the battle is a sentence with a simile, right? Direct comparison versus indirect comparison. Personification, attribution of human qualities to inanimate objects. So this is one technique again that you can use while you're describing places and objects, right? Even for describing people, you can use metaphors, similes, and all that. The other way around, right? The reverse of the personification, you depersonify, like comparing a warrior with a lion. So all these techniques can be used for description again. Second part, what do you feel about the place? Now, adjectives of feelings, right? We look at a list. I have a list here already. Let's maybe take a closer look at it. The screen is still visible to you, right? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You see this list here, the one that you just opened. Adjectives that are used to talk about ability.
List is not visible.
List is not visible. Okay, then I will have to share it. Stop sharing this and show you this. Just a minute. Is it visible now?
Yes,
it should be visible, right? Okay. So see this. You have lists like this. So when you talk about feelings, okay, you can use a bunch of these terms. I will share both, all of these types on this with you, so you can keep them in handy. But once again, my sincere advice would be to not try and learn everything on your own from your parents. Individually, don't learn these words. At least use them in sentence to understand, or pick 5 from these and try to construct a paragraph of your own and then try to use them. Okay, instead of simply keeping a list of it. So anger, expression of anger and hostility, ability and condition, all of these words very, very handy to talk about your feelings, right? Hostile feelings, annoyed, aggressive, agitated, combative, okay, furious, impatient, inconsiderate, vindictive, obnoxious, right? Another thing is showing sadness, gloom, and depression. Okay, feel humiliated. Okay, he was ostracized. Okay, it was a mournful morning. I feel miserable. Okay, scornful, stranded. All of them expressions for showing gloom, sadness, depression, distress, afflicted, displeased, disturbed, bewildered, baffled, okay, disgusted, unsatisfied, sickened, okay, offended, nauseated, or even terms like emaciated, okay, all of them shown to express distress, fear, anxiety, right? Dreading, embarrassed, anxious, apprehensive, frightened, uncomfortable, panicky, restless. Okay, very commonly used list. The list is very, very huge. It's not as very easy to fit them in one go, but some of them, at least most of it that you see here, they are something that you can use for the purpose of beginning with the writing task. Okay, frantic, dangerous, bashful. Okay, more of this in the list. Inadequacy, ashamed. I feel ashamed. I feel exhausted. I feel incompetent. Right. Joy, elation, exuberant, enthusiastic, enchanted, marvelous, tremendous, triumphant, vivacious. Okay. Love, affection, concern, courteous, altruistic, affectionate, cooperative, so on and so forth. So huge list. Okay. Just wanted to show you a glimpse of how these things work. Some of them are very useful. So they also have for size and smell and all this. Okay. All of these are actually good. The smell, sound, time, touch, the adjectives of senses, this and the adjectives of feelings, they're all very, very useful. If you're not in good touch with them, then this should work. Okay. So I will certainly share this with you only with a footnote that don't depend too much on the list. Always try and use them in sentences and in your writing in order to get in touch with them, in order to get used to them, right? Instead of just keeping the set with you and trying to by heart just individual words from it. Okay. Right. So just to show you an example of how this works, I'm going to stop sharing this. I'll go back to the slide again. Yes, okay. Okay, so this is about descriptive writing, right? We looked at three forms of description. One is description of places, description of people, and also description of the objects. And this is not a book, Preeti. This is a list that has been curated otherwise. So it's sort of a PDF file. It's not like a book. Books, you can find plenty of them online, but I am not sure how much of it can I vouch for. There are several books which people sell in the market in order to enhance vocabulary. I don't know if anybody has studied on their effectivity. Kunal, I see your question. How can you develop American accent? You will have to listen more to American English, right? That's the only way you can work on accent, right? You listen to them carefully and then study about the American accent. What are the differences that they have while they pronounce and all, right? We don't teach accents because we don't come from a school of thought that believes in correcting people's accent. You can do it only if that is required part for your job or anything. Otherwise, all of us are good to go with our English pronunciations. We cannot really do anything about accents because they are very natural. They're organic to all the people. Unless it is something that you have really decided, like, if it is something that you want that way, you can work on it. But please keep in mind that there is absolutely no need to sound like anything. Okay, all of us are good the way we sound. That's not a problem. It's not to gloss over or trivialize anybody's efforts, but this is how it is. That's how things work. That's more of a factual thing than something that is said to sound nice. Okay, but if you want to develop American accent, please listen more. Okay, watch more American series. Watch more of their news, or follow American authors, good writers, right? For example, read Hemingway, or read somebody like Tom Wolfe, or more authors like Alice Walker, or somebody like that. They will introduce you not just to the usual American accents that you see, but they will also open up you to the various accents that America itself actually has. Okay, you will figure that there is no one unified accent even in America. Same is the case for UK, right? So go for pop culture artifacts like movies and podcasts and other things. That should propel you better into that. Observe how they speak. There is to talk about. There is the lot many things. Starting from the very sounds that form American English. So listen and understand the sounds of the American English first, and then implement it. Okay. Okay, so that's about the mini lesson part of description now. We'll take another 10 to 15 minutes. If you can stay back, I'm going to be taking you through an exercise. And this one, I want you to particularly keep in hand for tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going to look at the editing proofreading exercise, right? How to do editing and proofreading. So please don't lose out on your writer. I'll just share something with you in a moment so that even I have a record of what you are writing. Just give me a minute. I'll share that screen with you so you can start writing after that. Okay. Mm. Just a second. Uh, the page is loading. I'll share it with you as soon as it is open. Okay. Um, share screen. Okay. Do you see this Peer page on your screen? It has got a code here. I'll also paste it in your chat in case there are people who cannot access it. It's here in your chat too. Please go there, join it, and we'll. Okay, this is the first one is for people who have already written, but if you haven't already, then ignore it. You'll have to write a fresh paragraph now. Your topic is on, you can choose one among the two, write either on um, a valuable possession or a memorable trip. Okay, if there is anybody who's from the last class and you have your work saved, please look at that. If you haven't, then write a fresh paragraph. Okay, either on memorable trip, topic in the chat. Trip. Position. Okay. Anything. One is a trip and one is a thing about a valuable possession. Just write about 5 to 6 sentences, not more than that. Okay. And as you write, please keep the outline in mind, right? The topic sentences, supporting sentences, concluding sentences, and whatever goes into it. Okay. You see the fields to respond, right? That is possible for you to do, right? Yes or no? Yeah, you're still able to hear me. You do have a space to write, no? This checking if it is functioning. Ah, okay. Yeah, okay, okay. I see people writing, so no problem, I think. All of you will have to write. This is the work time. So workshops usually have time for doing things that are being discussed on. So pick what you want to write and start writing. Yes, yes, Preeti, you can do that. But do you have your work saved? Because that is the place from where you will have to do this activity.
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay, good. Then no problem. So either who are writing now, you please save up your work. Okay. I have a copy of what you're writing, so not a problem. But you will need them to give responses for the questions tomorrow. We'll be looking at how to do editing and proofreading for your work, right? So we'll use your work only to do that, right? So it's good that you keep them in handy. But if you do not, I will have a record of it. Yet it's good that you have it with you. Okay, Priti, let me check what is there for the second one. You see this? Rewrite the paragraph you wrote using the new adjectives you have enlisted. Keep the outline. So it also asks you to write new adjectives, right? So you will find 5 new adjectives for each of this and then you will rewrite the paragraph. Okay, that is what the thing is. I'm not sure will you be able to write as long as the screen is on. I'm waiting for others to finish up the writing. Let me see uh, what happens. Okay, but in any case, it's okay. You can write in the same tab also, not a problem. You can write along with them, Preeti, okay, instead of waiting for the next page to open up. All right. So till 5:10, we'll see till 5:10, and I'll allow you to write till 5:10, and then we can close the session. Okay. 5 or 6 sentences. You actually don't require more than 10 minutes to do it. So even if you are unable to finish for the session today, you can carry this over. You will finish it off. So right, there are 2 sets that you're going to write. First, for all the people who have joined today, this is the first time you're writing. Preeti and all were there in the last session, so she has one written. So she just made the list of the 5 adjectives and what she is going to be doing and what you will also be doing. Okay, once you're done with this is to make a list of another 5 adjectives, okay, which is similar or which is similar, which has similar shades of meaning as the one that you have used to write down your paragraph now. You use a dictionary or a thesaurus or something, and then figure out at least another 5 adjectives that can be used to describe your position or your trip, right? And then you rewrite your paragraph that you've written. No, this is the, I told you that writing, you require drafts, you revise your work. So rewrite your paragraph again using this new the 5 new adjectives that you have figured out after you have written the paragraph once, and compare both of them together. Okay, see what kind of differences have you seen in them, right? That is how you actually construct writing, right? After that part over, then we'll look at what we do next in tomorrow's class, which includes a little more, that brings in more details. How you perfect your writing is what is a part of what we discuss tomorrow. But this is the basics. This is the building blocks. It's how you build. You can no, you can either write about the position or you write about the trip. Of course, position, when you're writing about the position, you will write, you give details of that position and you will write about other things, right? Remember the third part in supporting sentences was further details, within which I told you, you can talk about what is your, relationship with this or, um, you know, anything else that is a part of that uh, position. Anything about that thing could be given, but only in the third detail. First, you will talk about how it looks and all that, and give general description, and then progress to writing other parts. Okay. Okay. So take over from the class. Please write a full paragraph on this, even if you are unable to finish it right now. And have it for tomorrow's class. When I share the screen with you, you can just copy paste it there, and then we can use that to do our editing, proofreading activity also, because I don't see a lot of you may finish it in time today. It won't take a lot of time. It's just a matter of 5 or 6 sentences. You know what you have to do. First, you write, free writing you do first. This is what we did in the last session, actually, free writing. Once you finish with your free writing, then you sit down and do the activity that you're supposed to do today, right? Making a list of next 5 adjectives based on the ones that you've already used in your writing, and then rewrite your paragraph, right? So keep both those paragraphs, the one that you wrote first and the one that you wrote, the one that you revised. When we use it tomorrow, just copy paste it onto the screen when you are working. Okay, so that it is easier for everybody to see and make the corrections on that. Okay. All right. So will you do this? Yes, no? But then please join for tomorrow's session. Otherwise, we'll just have one thing to work with. Okay, all of you have come today. My request is also that you come again tomorrow with your work, so that you yourself see how you have written, and others can also participate along with you to see, learn from others' goods and bads both, right? Okay, all of you, Preeti and Kunal and Prakash and everybody else who is here, please join in tomorrow as well, so that we can have a close scrutiny at the work that you have done. Okay. All right. Okay, so shall we close for today then, since you guys are still working on it? Okay, then I'll see you tomorrow. Again, once again, I request all of you who are here today, please join tomorrow as well, so that we can bring this to fusion. Okay. All right. Okay, Prakash and Pushpanjali, Preeti, Kunal, and everybody else. Thank you for joining in. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. All right. Close the session.
Hello, ma'am.